Hi Virgo, how you doing? Okay, so let's get to your last week of October. But before we get into that, if I could just take care of a little bit of housekeeping. Normally, I don't like to do this, but some of you may have noticed I made a community post the other day. Some crazy person on YouTube was acting as though they were affiliated with me and they were leading people to a false WhatsApp number and this other site, and they were getting readings and saying that it was me. It wasn't me. I haven't been on social media since 2015. So if you see anything on Facebook, Instagram, anything like that, that says that it's me, it's not me. Okay. I'm here on YouTube. That's it. You can email me to get in touch with me. My booking site is below. Other than that, I don't do any other kind of anything. I would certainly announce it if I did. So there was just something silly that I had to deal with this week, unfortunately. And the other thing I wanted to mention is I have three of my readings are going to be 20% off for the month of November. I'm starting it now. I think I'm booked out the rest of the month, but you can book out into November. I opened up 2 or 3 more days. One is a birth chart analysis report. So that's no video, just the report. The report comes in at about 50 pages. The date that you book, that's the to be delivered by date. It's very extensive. It includes Black Moon, Lilith, Chiron, your nodal energies, where they are, the houses, all of that. Same thing with the second reading, except I include a video with that. So I add additional analysis. I pull up your chart, whatever, and I send you that as a private recorded video. And then the last one is the mixed bag tarot, where if you don't know your birth time, that's a good one for you to go with. If you're thinking about getting a reading and you don't know your birth time, it's a good one to go with because you can address several areas of your life. It's an hour in length. And it's 20% off as well. So the discount codes are in the description box below, as well the timestamps, as I always put them in there. So for the timestamps, I'm going to be putting the astrology, the general Celtic cross spread, where I apply to all areas of life. And then finally, the relationship. I'll pull some cards at the end for those of you who are in separation. But let's get into this. So I have your wheel here. And then I'm showing you guys now what I do before my readings. I like to place myself in what's going on with the Virgo archetype. So let's see what's going on. So 23rd, we have the sun is going into Scorpio. Scorpio season is always very intense. It's always very emotional. The illuminated part of Scorpio could be we feel very focused on getting to the bottom of things and getting underneath things, of asking the right questions, right? That's why it was called Scorpio, the sign of the detective, the sign of the psychologist. It's the Scorpio energy knows how to ask the right questions, and really sort of get under and around things. So it's the illuminated part, right? Where we could finally start figuring things out, which is great. The challenging shadow manifestation of Scorpio, though, could certainly be manipulation, passive aggressiveness, anxiety. Could be feeling a lot of anxiety during Scorpio season, and so you probably feel this, Virgo, every year, or, around this time of the year, this kind of anxiety, because Scorpio is a very anxious energy. It's ruled by Pluto. So wherever Pluto and Scorpio are in our chart, they're not meant to stay the same. Those locations are meant to always, either on a micro level or a macro level, transform. So it's very important to understand where those energies fall in your particular chart, so that you kind of figure out why what's going on is going on. But you feel it very heavily in your third house. So it could be with your siblings or your neighborhood, or the way you communicate, or doing business or short distance travel, or anything like that. You can find this heightened level of intensity. And it just so happens to be like around the season of Thanksgiving and leading into the holidays. So a lot of you might find that your communication maybe is a little more intense, or you have a lower threshold for patience when it comes to dealing with siblings or dealing with communication in general during this time of the year, because you just want to kind of get to the point. Superficial anything does not fly. Superficial niceties and all of that, no, it's not Scorpio season. Scorpio season wants to go deep. It wants to ask the questions. Now we're just coming out of the Libra season, and Libra season is all about the scales. Everybody, what's fair, what's not fair, but let's be equitable here. Scorpio Scorpio's like, all right, we went through Libra, we saw what wasn't fair, and now we have to fix it. We can't continue like this. Now we have to fix it. It's time to get to work. Let's roll our sleeves up. And a lot of you are going to be wanting to have those conversations in the biggest way. So let's see what is happening for you guys. So yeah, so that Scorpio sun is in your third house. Now, we have a big thing going on now this particular week is Mars in Libra is going to be squaring Pluto in Capricorn. And this is happening between your second and your fifth house. So when I look at this, and I look at the fact that Pisces is in Neptune in your seventh house, I feel like a lot of you guys may be having arguments around money, having to do with your children that is impacting your relationship, or having to do with a creative project, right? Where it's impacting your relationship. Conversation about money having to do with some sort of fifth house thing. Because the second house is the money that you make from the work that you do and your value system, your work ethic, and what you bring to the table in that way. Fifth house has to do with falling in love, love affairs, romance, children, creative efforts, entrepreneurial efforts, what you like to do because you like to do it. And then obviously that seventh house has to do with deep interpersonal relationships. And with Neptune there, you're just kind of like, how's your relationship going? I don't know. I'm not sure. It's very smoke and mirrors, as a matter of fact, right now, right? I mean, so that's the way a lot of Virgos may be responding to their relationships right now, because, Neptune's a funny energy to have in the relationship sector, right? It really is. I mean, it's sitting across the wheel from your energy, and you're a very decided energy, right? I mean, you are. And so with that Pisces there in the seventh, it's like, you can have this very critical scope, right, for yourself as well as the person that you're in relationship with. Yet there's this energy of like sacrificial energy having to do with Pisces and Neptune, very much like a martyrdom, needing to sacrifice. But what happens is very hangman energy, right? In tarot, very hangman. So like a lot of you may be like, if I continue with this, am I going to end up being sorry I did? Am I going to end up having to sacrifice what I want, need, and desire? But like the meeting point for that, for a lot of you, can have to do with your values as well as money and what's being expended on children. So because this is a general reading, it can manifest in several ways, like not having a meeting of the minds and how the money that you make should be spent on your children or your hobbies or your creative endeavors, whatever that is. And that could certainly be an issue that a lot of Virgos are dealing with. At the same time, we do, though, have Venus in that fourth house. And I feel like Venus's energy is placed in such a way where it can end up helping out here, because Mercury is sextiling Virgo. So Mercury in that second house, yeah, because Mars, so that square is happening between your second and your fifth. Now, until the 30th, Mars is going to be in your second house. Once the 30th rolls around, Mars is going to be moving into the third to hang out with the sun in Scorpio. So there's going to be a lot of assertive focus on your third house of communication, siblings, short distance travel, all modes of communication, from snail mail to email to social media. There's going to be a lot of focus on signing on the dotted line, on just this energy of communication. Now, the fact that we have Mars in there, don't be surprised if you end up, because it does square that sixth house, if you end up having some sort of aggressive conversations regarding somebody in the business place, who you work with, who you work for, some sort of silly issues that you're going to need to contend with there. We do have Saturn sitting in your sixth house as well as Jupiter. But let me just say that, again, something that I feel like is going to end up taking the edge off, because let's look for the positive here. Mercury sextiling Virgo. Mercury in the second having to do with your work ethic, the money that you make from the work that you do, is going to be sextiling Venus in your fourth house of feeling grounded, rooted, safe, and secure, the idea of home. So very nice energy for discussing what matters to you regarding your home, or regarding anyone that you live with, or anyone that you're deeply connected to, that would be someone you would be dealing with as far as feeling grounded, rooted, safe, and secure. So I do like that. And we also have Venus in the fourth, sextiling Jupiter in the sixth. So this, I feel like, is going to ease that Venus in the fourth house, you feeling more connected to what you need to feel grounded, rooted, and safe and secure. You being very focused on things being equitable, and that being front and center during this very nice sextile to Jupiter, which is about truth, expansion, your belief system in that sixth house of work. So I think that that is really nicely situated to have these conversations that you're going to need to have in Scorpio season, especially if you feel like something is not really going exactly how you would like it to go. Now, the Venus in the fourth is also squaring that Neptune in the seventh, as I mentioned, a little bit ago, where there could be this tension between your home life and where the relationship is going. Things being equitable, and where is this relationship going? And there's a lot to unpack here, right? Because Venus is the Empress energy. So this could have a lot to do with, what's the dealio with the children? What's the dealio with the relationship, with us being able to get that house, get married, move in together? Think about expansion, guys, right? Because Venus being the Empress is the mother of the tarot. It's fertility. So depending on the age and stage you're at, some of you, like me, I'm not Virgo here, I'm not Virgo in my key points, but maybe your shop is closed when it comes to having children. And so this would resonate with you differently. Like, how would you and your partner consider growth? How would you and a business associate consider growth? Doesn't only mean having a baby, growing your life, growing your business, growing your creative endeavor, growing whatever it is. Okay, you guys get the idea. So there's just going to be some tension there that's going to need to be looked at. So let's see what comes out in the cards, but that is really what I see. Yes, so the focus is going to be on third house energies for sure this month. All right, so let's, I'm going to drop the screen down a bit so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And we'll pull a basic Celtic cross spread to get started. Energies for our Virgo friends and my rising and Venus. You guys are doing a lot of healing right now, though, a lot of healing with that Chiron retrograde in Aries in that 8th house of endings and beginnings in the past and karma and all of that stuff going on in there. You're changing, with Uranus, Taurus, and that 9th house of belief system. Lots of changes going on. It's a good thing. Doesn't mean it's easy, but it's good. All right, so let's see what's going on. Right now, you are the 9 of Pentacles. You are focusing on yourself. Focusing on yourself. 9 of Pentacles. This is accomplishment and success in independent endeavors. So great if you're trying to launch something, if you're trying to get anything out there. I do like that. Something surprising might even happen. I mean, you do still have Uranus at 13 degrees, Uranus and Taurus in that 9th house. That would be the house where launching goes on and publishing and marketing and advertising and all that good stuff. So a lot of you may be very much focused on trying to launch something, get something out there. But what I like about this energy, it's like you've been working on yourself. So it does indicate a financial reward for your effort. Are you being very focused on that? Or for some of you, having to do with relationship, if you're resonating with it in that way, finally meeting a healthy connection after doing a lot of solid work on yourself. Or, if you've been in a weird place in a relationship, you're doing some really good work on yourself and being an updated version of who you were, and being able to reapproach a particular connection in a healthier way. But 9 is the number of productivity. So this is like the true integration of body, mind, and spirit, which is very nice. So that's where you're at. So you're in a very healthy space, but let's see what your challenge is. Oh my. Your challenge is a Moon and Libra energy. You just don't know. It's time to think, because you're in an emotional stalemate and you need to make a decision. You want to protect yourself, but the situation's not going away. So you're really better off kind of just trying to resolve it now, stand your ground, say what you want. But a decision about the future is definitely needed here. I feel like very crossroads energy. Very interesting, because we have a Ten of Swords energy coming into this in the recent past. So some of you might have ended something in the recent past, right? It was like this Ten of Swords is it's an ending, right? And where there's a history here, right? And the finality in the release of something released you from frustration and stress, even if it was painful. It was the end of a really difficult time period, so that you were then able to transform into a healthier energy with fresh eyes and a new mindset. And that's why the Nine of Pentacles. So something that was a mess ended, but here you are, like, you're not fully moving on. You're not sure what you're feeling. To be an emotional stalemate is tough because you really don't know how you feel. That's the thing with the Two of Swords energy. It's Moon in Libra. Libra is the most indecisive sign out of the entire zodiac. And Moon is all about your emotions. So your emotions are sitting in indecision. Should I do this? Should I do that? On Monday, you could feel one way. By Wednesday, you feel totally different. And it could be a real, it could be very difficult. Now, the basis of the situation is the Five of Swords. And the Five of Swords indicates to me that you're experiencing a clash between what it is that you want to live and the life that you're living, whether that's in your job, in a relationship, in a friendship, something. There's a lack of squaring between what it is that you want something to be and what it is. And that tension and that ongoing conflict is something that you're not going to be able to win right now. So you're better off walking away with grace to deal with your anger or your disappointment, because you can't mitigate somebody else's stuff. Somebody is not, I almost want to say reachable in the Five of Swords. It doesn't have to be long-lived. This could be short-lived because it's a minor arcana, but it's the kind of energy where it's like no matter how long you speak for, no matter how upset you get, it's not really changing. It's not moving their needle. They're very dug in, right? They're very dug in. And that's an issue for you right now, because right now the situation is very Queen of Cups, very Gemini and Cancer, wanting to communicate about what's necessary to feel grounded, rooted, and safe and secure. So this is being very emotionally intelligent, valuing what's necessary in order to make something work, whether it's that relationship, that job, that family situation. But the thing is, it's like, you're going to be, oh my gosh, Virgo, you are so going to have to put your Virgo, like, seriously suit up in that wicked Virgo energy of yours. It is your superpower, Virgo. Your superpower is problem solving. We all have a superpower. Virgos is that. You are critical as anything. People probably yell at you all the time for it until they need it. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of problem solving energy. There is this lack of alignment between what it is that you're living and what it is that you want. But the Queen of Cups is all about valuing what is necessary to make something happen. So problem solving going on here. Now, what is the recommended approach is the wheel. The wheel is a Jupiter energy. It's a Jupiter. So if this has to do with career or money, understand that good news is coming in, but you have to be sure to prioritize what's being asked of you and exercise integrity while you're doing it. Whatever is happening, this is a good energy. Understand that. Be open to it. Be ready for it. Don't get too entrenched in anything that you feel like is not working out right now, because that's going to create energetic blocks. Try to stay as open as you possibly can be. If this has to do with a relationship, understand that this could indicate an ex-person coming back from the past, but you need to think about that last go around. Do you think that the connection had good enough bones and a strong enough foundation to make it work this time? If so, great. Jupiter will bless it. If not, you have to know deep down that you are trying to fit a circle in a square, and chances are it's probably not going to go very smoothly. If this has to do with the reconciliation, if this has to do with, you guys are together, there's something very fated going on. There's some sort of change that's very necessary in this relationship, and that you have to recognize that you've reached a turning point and it's time to take a chance on something, but you both have to be willing to do it. Now, the energy that you're dealing with right now, Virgo, seems pretty upset. They're pretty upset. They may be struggling with depression. The Nine of Swords is I always call it the 3 a.m. card. Very worried, not responding well to the external stress of a situation because their way out of something isn't clear, having to do with that relationship, that family situation, that work situation. An energy external to you is experiencing a lot of stress right now, but you're at this point where you know something's got to give. Something's got to give. Because what's not going to continue is whatever was. So now it's like, all right, now what? Now your challenge, though, your challenge is the Ace of Cups. So you might be feeling a little let down right now. You might be feeling a little disappointed, right? Because you're not feeling, if this has to do with relationship, you're not feeling very loved and very supported. You're not feeling that right now. Some of you, the disappointment and the challenge could be having a baby, because this is also the energy of fertility and pregnancy, falling in love, the ability to grow something, growing a business. Again, taking that idea of fertility and expanding it, right? So it's not only about growing a baby, it could be growing a business, growing a life together, whatever it is, but it's brand new. It's Ace and Cups, whatever it is, it's speaking to your emotional space. So you're having a very hard time with that right now. That seems to be in your psychological block. We have the Seven of Wands in the near future, and the Seven of Wands is a Mars and Leo energy, you know? So this is about obstacles, you being able to get over whatever it is, but the obstacles are kind of entrenched in the idea of your morality and your belief system and your moral philosophy being really important to you right now. Really. Some of you may even be in a space where you feel like you have to fight for your relationship, which is fine, you know, temporarily. And if you feel like your partner would return the loyalty, but not if they wouldn't. Because it does seem like, and when I say this, this could be for intimate, this could be a business partnership, this could be some sort of family connection as well. Because I feel like something's happening that's exhausting you, right? You're tired. The final outcome is, I am tired. But you're going to have the perseverance to see something through, but you're probably feeling really, really defensive right now, which is okay. You just don't want to stay in a negative mindset because you don't want the Nine of Wands to go into the Ten of Wands, you know, which is the energy of overwhelm. The Nine of Wands is actually a strong position. It's like, look at her. Look at her eyes. She's like, I see you. I see you. I know what's going on here, but you're not ready to throw the towel into something yet. You still have some fire in your belly, even though you're protecting yourself. You might even be a little back on your heels right now about something, but you still have fire in your belly for something. We have the High Priestess. Oh, you're doing a lot of thinking. You're not talking to anybody about it. Remember, the High Priestess is not only about secrets to moon energy. I don't know if you could see in this deck. You might not be able to. It looks like her eyes are closed, right? But then in the shadowing, her eyes are open, even though her eyes look closed. So she's seeing things and she's thinking things that nobody else could see. So it's all about her intuition, right? But she's got this moon hanging right on her crown. And so it's got to do with her emotions and keeping secrets and doing a lot of thinking underneath the surface, which is exactly what you should be doing. Like that High Priestess energy indicates to me that you're thinking things that you know intuitively is best not to share in the moment. So make sure you don't share it. But you're thinking about leaving something. So because we have the Six of Wands, which is about moving on, and this can even manifest more mentally than physically initially. This is about detaching, taking time apart or away from that relationship or that job in order to do some internal work on yourself, right? You need a little bit of breathing room here. Some of you just may be secretly planning a trip away, because Six of Swords can mean also literal travel, but you're not talking to anybody about it. But some of you may be thinking about leaving that job, leaving that relationship. You're really not talking to anybody about it. Yeah, with the Chariot energy is about leaving toxicity behind, you know, right? Some sort of relationship situation is expedited if it has to do with relationship. It's like moving. This has to do with career, quick changes in progress in a business situation or something like that. This is about bringing something to fruition. which is actually a really good thing. Then we have the Knight of Pentacles. So some of you are bringing something to fruition, which is great. Some of you are leaving a toxic situation because you're recognizing that it's just not really going to give you what it is that you want. Others of you, you're just very focused on increasing your prosperity and financial growth and making good investments and, having some really solid business ventures or, hooking up with a business partner. Increasing your money or connection at least is indicated to come in here, but you're going to probably have to work harder than you ever thought you would. If it has to do with relationship, it's you needing to work really hard at something, because from naturally having to do with relationship, it's you feel like something is missing. So you have to actually actively work on not seeing something in a relationship that is troubling you. There's something missing. Whether it's you don't feel like they're on the same page as you, maybe they're not interesting enough, you don't have enough shared interest, there's something there. They could be solid, a really good person, but you feel like something's missing. Same thing with a job. It could be solid, but you feel like very underwhelmed in that situation. And the Four of Cups is an energy of a sort of apathy and disillusionment and boredom and just feeling like, am I ever going to meet that right person? Am I ever going to be in a job that's really just like gives me what I'm worth and I enjoy it? You know what I mean? Like, am I ever going to fill in the blank? But you want to make sure it's a checklist card, right? It's never going to work because of this and this and that and that, right? And you might have really good points with all of those things, but this does tell me that there was something within you that you need to look at. What is unhealed inside of you that's being poked at? If it has to do with work and you're feeling underpaid or undervalued, is there something from another part of your life that created a wound having to do with you feeling like less than, not enough, and that situation of being underpaid or undervalued is poking at it? Or same such a thing in a situation, do you feel like you're being undervalued or not appreciated or something like that? Because it's poking, right? It doesn't mean that that's not completely happening, what it is that you're thinking, but what is it poking at? Like, why is it feeling the way it is to you? Six of Cups and the Hierophant. But I mean, for some of you, feeling very nostalgic, the past coming back around, reconciliation energy, reconnecting with the past. If things, were, let's say if you suffered mistreatment in the past, finding the right balance, remedying that situation by talking about what's expected, conforming. Some of you are going to be like, got to get married, Hierophant energy. Some of you are talking about that expectation. You want to get married. If it's not a literal marriage card, it's what's expected, this, and this. If it has to do with relationships, some of you, Six of Cups energy, you could be returning to a job that you did at one point, picking up a project that you started in an earlier time, anything like that. But this is about progression forward in your work, decision making, in your direction, right? Having to do with the Hierophant. So even though it's like you're going back to an old way of doing something or going back to something that you did once upon a time, the Hierophant indicates to me that whatever that is, it's going to end up being a really good thing for you, because that's going to bring progression forward. Going back to something that you used to be involved in more deeply. So that's what I have for the general spread. Let's see what's going on for our Virgo friends in relationships. For a couple of oracles. See. And the fates. So to see, don't focus too much on the past. Don't hyper focus on the future. Stay in the moment and understand that whatever is happening in your relationship right now, Virgo is very, very faded. It's very faded. Build on solid ground. Have faith with the fates. Right. See what we have for our friends in relationship. Strength card might be dealing with a Leo. What is your challenge? Is the Ace of Pentacles. Okay, let's pull the cards and then we'll see. Ten of Swords. Okay. So I feel like if you're resonating with this, you guys had like a big argument or it was an ending, at least for the time period. I want to talk about the past first, just because it's like staring at us here. The Ten of Swords energy really is about that, ending. And the release of whatever was very frustrating, was very upsetting, even if it was painful. It was the end of a difficult time period. So, something wasn't working. And there needed to be this sort of stop measure put in place because it wasn't good for you. It just wasn't good for you the way that it was in the past. But now it does seem like you guys are trying to work something out here because we have the Strength card. So if your relationship's been tested, this does indicate you guys being able to get past things, but there's a need for balance. You want to be careful here, though, because physical attraction can definitely serve to mask some sort of deeper issue that needs to be addressed. Somebody needs their ego stroked here. It does seem like that. But that's like you right now, is you're in the space of wanting to have the balance. You do. You want to balance something out. But what is your challenge? Is the Ace of Pentacles here. So this is very auspicious energy, the Ace of Pentacles, right? I mean, this really is about a happiness and contentment and you being shown how to get what it is that you want. But the thing is, it's almost like there's this blind spot. And it's not because you can't see it. I feel like you may not be dealing with an energy that is working with you. It's like you want to balance something out, but somebody is just not working with you. So we have the basis of the situation is Two of Pentacles. So you're in the space of this Jupiter and Capricorn. You're trying to negotiate, right? You need to make a decision regarding more than one path, one situation, something. So when I say one path, this could be something the two of you collectively as a couple that you need to make a decision on, right? So an example of that would be, should we get married? Shouldn't we? Should we move in together? Shouldn't we have a baby, buy a business, whatever it is? It could be that. For others of you, this is you're negotiating whether you want to even be in the relationship. So it depends on what else is going on in your chart, obviously in your personal situation, but you need to decide which pentacle needs to be put down because you're feeling a sense of lack. So there's this lack of connection. Now, for some of you, it could be a lack in money where you feel like you're covering everything and you just can't swing it, or the lack in just feeling connected because, right, that pentacle energy is also mental, physical, and emotional connection. But right now, what we're dealing with is the Six of Swords in reverse. And right now, what this tells me is you're in this space where you're unable to move on. And there's this sort of stagnation that's going on within the relationship. Regardless whether you guys are together or not, there's this like stuckness. There's this unbelievable sense of stuckness and this lack of clarity. Yeah, I mean, okay, so you have that Neptune in that seventh house of relationships. I mean, I get that. I certainly do. And when you're sitting down and thinking about, your relationship and where am I going in the next 5 years, 10 years, right? That 11th house energy, you have Cancer in there, and Cancer really is about, it's ruled by the moon. So it's like you may be experiencing If somebody is not there for you, helping you to feel solid and secure in the relationship, this is an energy of easy disappointment, to be honest with you, right? And so that these are energies that you really do need to look at, right? So what is the recommended approach? We have the sun. So the sun, I feel like, just in this particular spread, it's very helpful to reference the numerology link to this, which would be the Wheel of Fortune card. And while that is, it's not only, the magician energy is also thrown in there when we're talking about numerology as well. So it's conversation in order to problem solve. And when problem solving, there's got to be a focus on what it is that needs to seriously be addressed. What do you need to express? Where do you feel like you are struggling to shine in this relationship, right? And this is like, really needs to be looked at, because the sun does give you all the tools in your toolbox that you need to take care of whatever situation is on hand, right? But the most you can do is try to communicate. And this idea of going back, right? It is a Jupiter energy of going back and revisiting things. For a lot of you, this is an energy of reconciling with a situation that maybe you guys are not together right now. I do feel that very heavily. You may not be together right now, or at least things are in a weird space if you are together. But we have the Three of Cups energy as this person in relationship external to you, which is a card of support. You know, it is. I mean, you're circled by support external to you. And this is an energy for new relationships as well as healing. So you have stuff surrounding you. There's no question. Your challenge, though, and I'm going to come back to that. I didn't speak that. I'm under addressing that on purpose right now. We have the King of Cups as your challenge right now. And the King of Cups indicates to me that there is a need existing right now to settle a conflict, either within yourself or with someone else. And you might be really unclear how to handle that. And you're not able to do it. And this could be a challenge because this person will not speak to you, or it could be a challenge because you guys are just really, really, really on opposite pages. And I'm feeling more inclined to go back now and say, I feel like this Three of Cups are just very good people in your life that are supporting you right now while you go through a challenging time period within your relationship. We have the Five of Pentacles. The Five of Pentacles is an energy of testing, right? And you could feel tested having to do with your connection. This could indicate the pain and the aftermath of a breakup. And it's a very deeply psychological energy, meaning you have a lot more support than you realize right now. Of course you do, because you have the Three of Cups here, right? But it's this feeling, this unbelievable sense of lack, and feeling sort of like your feet are off the ground, right? Not feeling very secure in a situation, fearing where it's all going. And we have, as a final outcome energy, we have the Nine of Swords, which is anxiety and worry. And some of you may be struggling with some depression right now, because you're not responding well to the external stress of what's ever going on here in this relationship, because your way out of something or your way to fix something isn't clear to you. It's like you feel like something can be fixed, but it's like somebody's not showing up. Five of Wands, Battle of the Wills. You guys are just very rivalrous. Who does more? Who shows up how? Very rivalrous is the Five of Wands, right? Lack of agreement, strong opinions, fighting to be heard. And then we have the Six of Pentacles. So there could be a lot of issues about the arguments, because we have the Six of Pentacles clarifying the Five of Wands. It could be fighting about property, family. If one of you are getting an inheritance, it could be that. If you've been struggling financially, right? Them having your back, or vice versa, where they might need your help, but there are arguments there. there are arguments about that. Now, again, the pentacles doesn't only mean money, it means mental, physical, emotional connection. So it's really like, no matter what, I have your back. I am unconditional. I am here. You guys are arguing about that because you may be feeling like there are conditions that are involved here. Oh, we have the King of Wands. King of Wands is all about being a free spirit. You want to be a free spirit. You want to come in. You want to express your ideas. You want to go after what you want. I always say with the King of Wands, though, you don't want to allow perfectionism to get in the way. You don't have to be perfect, neither do they, for it to be great, right? Just keep that in mind. We have the Page of Pentacles. Page always incites a new cycle. Pentacles is mental, physical, emotional connection. So this is indicating to me that there is some sort of new cycle, but you also may be dealing with somebody who is rather immature, somebody who's expecting a lot. Could be you, could be them. Maybe it's a little bit of both of you, but expecting something to be more than it reasonably can be at this moment. We have the Seven of Wands, which is about feeling the need to be defensive, right? And it's like, no, I believe this, right? Because your morality and your personal philosophy is super important for you in this energy. And you're facing these obstacles, right? You're going to be able to overcome whatever it is. You will be able to. But a lot of you may feel like you are temporarily needing to stand up for your relationship. And again, no problem, as long as you know they would do the same thing for you. And that's always the big question. Because if you're fighting a one-sided battle, and they're not putting the energy into it, you have to ask yourself, really honestly, is it worth it? We have the Six of Wands, very nice energy. These feelings are shared, well received, beautiful communication coming in that ends up leading to a deepening of the connection. And clarifying that, we have the Knight of Wands, firing up the ambition, events speeding up, blocks being lifted, some sort of proposal coming in, decisions coming in that incite some sort of forward movement. So I feel like the crux of the matter is sort of here, right? It's this argument about, are you guys there for each other unconditionally or are you not? And this, needing to feel comfortable to say whatever you need to say without being said that A, B, and C was wrong with you, or without having your words used against you, And you can't do that to them either, because there's got to be this new cycle started. You guys are going to work this out. Interesting. Interesting, Virgo. Interesting. All right, so let's sweep this and let's pull for those of you who are in separation. Okay, somebody's feeling a lot of remorse. Wow, 4 in a row, no joke. I didn't realize I loved you until it was too late. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to move on, but thoughts of you still linger and I can't control them. I feel like I abandoned you and myself when we broke up. I want to reconcile. I feel like you're on the other side of my every breath. Oof. Let's pull some tarot for those. Some split pulls. Many. The Pluto in that 5th house, transformation is coming out of retrograde. King of Cups, yeah, absolutely. There's a need to settle a conflict. There's a need to settle a conflict, but somebody is sort of stepping back, taking a time out for perspective, doing a little bit of shadow work, maybe going to therapy, but just trying to figure out a better strategy for moving forward regarding that situation, which I actually like, because I feel like you don't want to jump back into something before you sort of have some things unknotted, right? Because then you're going to end up right back in the same space, back on that hamster wheel. You don't want that. So we have the Emperor really wanting to figure something out, wanting to discuss how things could be moving forward in the future, basically wanting to take the bull by the horns. But this is somebody who's like, I know how it should be. So you want to be a little careful. I always say with the Emperor energy, it's beautiful energy, but it is Aries, where you guys may have a shared belief system, and this person may be confident and a lot of fiery and fun and sexy and have so much going for them. They, first of all, might not have it all figured out as to how something's actually going to roll out pragmatically, like how are we going to do this, right? And then also this energy can be also deeply entrenched in their own way of wanting to do something, because this is ruled by Mars, right? And Mars is a very me-based energy. And then we have the Six of Pentacles, so they may have their own idea of connection, of money, of what they want in regards to family, property, how things are handled, what they're willing to give, right? So that's something that is being considered right now. Now, we do have the Three of Pentacles working with the Four of Wands. I mean, this is really nice energy. This Three of Pentacles is Mars and Capricorn energy. It's about long-term, coming together, collaborating, coming together as a couple, talking things out, figuring things out. It's working with the Four of Wands, which is a honeymoon card, very strong foundation. It's a homecoming energy. There's an energy of reconciling, working together really towards moving on. Now we have the Nine of Pentacles, and then that's being clarified by the Queen of Cups. So I like this a lot because this indicates to me independent endeavor. So somebody's working on themselves so that they can finally be in a healthy connection and be able to have that conversation. That Queen of Cups energy is a very important conversation. It's Gemini and Cancer. Gemini is about communication, and Cancer is about what do we need to feel grounded, rooted, safe, and secure. This is a very intuitive energy, high emotional intelligence, not afraid of intimacy, and recognizes what is required in order to make something work. And this is an energy that treasures what is valued, right, within the relationship. So very interesting energy. The only little snafu thing that I think might get in the way here might be this Emperor energy with the Six of Pentacles, because while I see it being very supportive, it's very supportive on their terms. And because you have this square going on between your second and your fifth house, you know, your money and the romantic situation, or your value system and the romance, you may be in a little bit of a tug of war as far as like a belief system, as far as how you think something should roll out or how something should go, especially if it has anything to do with your actual relationship, or even if you guys have kids, or if you have your own, if you have kids together, or if you have your own kids and they have their own kids, there could be like weirdness having to do with that. But there's definitely intention here. It just seems like there's still some marinating that's required before you guys could come back together. But there's definitely a lot of intention here. And if you do happen to connect and you can control when you guys have this conversation, try to have it on the 30th or the 31st, if you can, because yes, because you want Mars to be in your third house. You want Mars to be in that energy. Mars is going to be very supportive of your ability to communicate in a way where you're able to get your views across, because the sun's going to be in there as well, enlightening this for you. So there's going to be a lot of focus. So you're going to find that you're going to be more articulate and more convincing and more economical with your words, but even more powerful. So it's very interesting energy here. So if you guys are going to be speaking. Also, if you're going to be speaking, just keep in mind that it does seem like they are still a little dug into the way that they think things need to be. It's not a big deal. It's part of the human condition from time to time, but there needs to be cooperation here. And they need to see that the value of cooperation. But anyway, my friends, that is what I have for you for this week. I hope this was helpful for you in some way. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.